The scene opens not in a classroom, but in a high-stakes, international conference room. A British executive, a German engineer, and an American financier are gathered, attempting to broker a massive deal. The conversation is complex, spanning technical specifications and legal jargon. Yet, the language is not a source of confusion, it is perfectly clear, precise, and universally understood. Who is speaking this flawlessly articulate, adaptable English? The Filipino project lead. This is the subtle, powerful shift happening globally. The quiet rise of Filipino English as the gold standard for international communication. For decades, the world accepted two primary English standards, American and British. But today, the most functional, clear, and universally adaptable English is often spoken by the 100 million people in the Philippines, a country with the third largest English-speaking population globally. This isn't just about proficiency, it's about utility. Filipino English, born of a century of rigorous, American-based education, has evolved into the most effective bridge language in the world of commerce, science, and technology. This is the story of how an archipelago became the essential linguistic powerhouse of the modern world. If you're a true, full-blooded Filipino who carries the spirit of Puso in your chest, show your support and subscribe to this channel right now. Join us to celebrate the intellectual rigor and global impact of Filipino brilliance. The reason for this dominance is structural. Unlike native speakers who rely heavily on regional slang, cultural idioms, and mumbled contractions, Filipino English is taught and spoken with a fierce precision of grammar and clarity of pronunciati. It's often referred to as classroom English because it adheres closely to the fundamental rules of the language. This focus on fundamentals ensures that whether you're communicating with someone in Tokyo, Dubai, or Berlin, the message is received without the ambiguity caused by regional shortcuts. The world realized it didn't need the casual slang of California or the clipped vowels of London, it needed clarity. And the Philippines provides it, consistently. This linguistic clarity is now fueling global industries that demand zero room for error.
The most visible proof of this standard is found in the business process outsourcing BPO industry. The Philippines dominates this sector, not because of cheap labor, but because of its unparalleled communication skills. When a Fortune 500 company in New York needs to ensure flawless customer service, technical support, or complex back-office operations, they choose the Philippines. Why? Because the Filipino communication style is uniquely effective. It's not just the grammar, it's the cultural competency. Filipino communication is imbued with pakikipagkapwa-tao, a sense of shared identity and hospitality. This means Filipino professionals are not only technically articulate, but also inherently empathetic and polite. They communicate with an emotional intelligence that de-escalates tense situations, comforts frustrated customers, and builds rapport across cultural barriers. This soft skill, married to impeccable hard grammar, is the true gold standard for service industries worldwide. The clients aren't just getting problem solvers, they're getting relational communicators. This dominance extends into the most critical, error-averse sectors. Filipino nurses, engineers, and teachers are global leaders in their fields, largely because of their linguistic ability to seamlessly integrate into any Western environment. An engineer from Manila can read a complex US blueprint and communicate required specifications to a fabrication team in China with crystalline clarity. A nurse can communicate complex medical instructions to a patient and their family with empathetic precision. In these life and death or multi-million-dollar environments, ambiguity is the enemy, and Filipino English is the solution. The gold standard isn't about being native, it's about being universal. Filipino English achieves universality by staying close to the rules, remaining free of excessive regional slang, and being delivered with consistent, clear pacing. While the melodic cadence may be different, the message is always correct, concise, and complete. The history of this linguistic mastery is rooted in the American colonial period, but the Filipino people made the language their own. The US established a comprehensive, English-based public education system. Unlike many countries where a colonial language remains confined to the elite, English became a functional language of social mobility across the Philippines. This widespread, rigorous immersion created a critical mass of highly educated, English-proficient graduates who continue to populate the workforce today. Furthermore, Filipino English is inherently flexible because it must navigate multiple local languages: Tagalog, Cebuano, Ilocano, etc. Speakers constantly code switch and adapt, making their brains incredibly agile in understanding context and finding the clearest common denominator. This constant linguistic calibration makes them superior global communicators. They are naturally predisposed to seek clarity because they live in a polyglot society. The most profound shift has occurred in academic and literary circles. Filipino writers, poets, and scholars are increasingly recognized on the world stage, using English not just to translate their experience, but to create powerful, original literature. They treat English as a resource, not a legacy, pushing its boundaries while retaining its structural integrity. This creative usage proves that the language is not merely a tool for commerce, but a powerful vehicle for Filipino culture and intellectual thought. This unique positioning has led major global corporations and communication training firms to quietly study the Filipino model. They realize that training non-native speakers to adopt the Philippine standard clear, rule-based, and polite is far more effective than forcing them to adopt the slang-ridden, rapidly evolving dialects of the US or UK. The Filipino standard is the stable baseline the world needs.
The economic implications are enormous. The dominance in BPO alone generates billions of dollars, making the Philippines an indispensable part of the global services economy. But the value goes deeper. Filipino English is a massive competitive advantage for every Filipino professional abroad. When an employer has a choice between two equally qualified candidates, the one who can communicate with maximum clarity and cultural sensitivity often wins. That candidate is frequently Filipino. Consider the field of medicine. When a patient is receiving difficult, life-altering news, the nurse must communicate complex medical facts with absolute precision while demonstrating profound empathy. The Filipino nurse, armed with impeccable medical English and the cultural value of malasakit, excels at this delicate balance. They fulfill the role not just of a technician, but of a trusted, clear communicator in a patient's darkest hour. This linguistic strength is also a force for national unity and pride. It empowers the Filipino diaspora, ensuring that whether they are in Toronto, Sydney, or London, they can enter the professional workforce at a high level. It transforms the historical legacy of colonialism into a future asset, demonstrating resilience and mastery. The language that was once imposed has been adapted, perfected, and deployed back onto the world stage as a distinct, superior product. The concept of the gold standard is about reliability and consistency. Filipino English is reliable because it adheres to the rules. It is consistent because it is taught rigorously across all regions. It provides a level of quality control that simply doesn't exist in the fast-moving, slang-heavy native dialects. It has become the default language of clarity for global business interactions.
The ultimate reason why Filipino English is the new gold standard is that it successfully blends the technical demands of the language with the human demands of communication. It is the perfect marriage of structure and soul. The structure comes from the education system. The soul comes from the puso, the heart and hospitality of the Filipino people. The world is rapidly moving past simple proficiency to demand effective communication. Effective means, can I understand you fully, and do I feel understood by you? Filipino English provides a resounding yes to both. It is a communication style designed for collaboration, not just transaction. The next time you encounter a Filipino professional, whether they are teaching a class, managing a complex supply chain, or assisting you on a customer service line, listen not just to the words, but to the precision and the tone. You are hearing the sound of the world's most universally effective language standard. You are hearing the culmination of a century of dedication, and the sound of Filipino excellence dominating a critical global field. This linguistic mastery is a profound source of national pride and an undeniable force for global good. The Philippines didn't just inherit a language, it perfected it, and in doing so, it has provided the world with the clarity it desperately needed. The age of American and British English dominance in global business is yielding to the rise of the clear, compassionate, and precise standard established by the Philippines. They taught the world how to truly communicate.